Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Profit Minds podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Stephen 𝐘𝐨𝐿, creator of the Profit Minds Growth System, a unique blend of profit growth, productivity acceleration, and building robust business process for scale. In every episode, I interview entrepreneurs and small business owners from around the world with a unique story to tell. You can find the show on YouTube, LinkedIn, Apple and Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. Well, hi, everyone. Today, my guest is Doug Crowe, a legacy architect who has published books for hundreds of leaders. And today, we're going to talk about how to cut through the noise and make an impact. Welcome, Doug.
Thanks for I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Yeah. So the first question that I ask everybody, tell me your story. How did you get to be a legacy?
Who is this guy anyway?
Yeah.
Yes. So I was born a poor sharecropper's son. No, I studied radio, TV, and film at Northwestern and loved media. Got a job at a TV station, and my gosh, Robert Allen walks in one day for an interview. A guy who, real estate guru, and I was captivated by his story and no money down investing. After the interview, I go up to him, like, hey, how do I get involved with this real estate thing? Oh, come to my weekend boot camp here. It's only $5,000. Like, oh my gosh. I said to straight face, Mr. Allen, I make $3.10 an hour here at ABC Cleveland. Can't do that. To this gentleman's credit, right? He said, go to the library then and check out my book, right? Because he's interested in the message, not the seminar. I'm like, I like this guy. Check out his book, read up on it, sat on it for a year, did nothing. And one day I forgot what it was. I'm like, I gotta go ahead and try something. And I tried to practice buying a property. I actually bought one, bought two, bought three. And before you know it, I'm a full-time real estate developer, investor, landlord. I was doing pretty well. And I actually started an academy of how to invest in real estate. I didn't do the weekend boot camp. I did an actual classroom in Chicago with seats and a curriculum and a 10-week class. Only way you graduated my class was to buy a piece of property. So I was big on accountability. So it was very good. I had a radio show on ABC there in Chicago, and man, things were great until they weren't. 2008 sort of took the wind out of my sails. And
so did something happen in 2008?
You young kids might not know this.
Yeah.
Stephen and I do.
Yeah.
So
wow.
A lot of people talk about their bankruptcy or foreclosure. I'm like, yeah, okay. I had 19 foreclosures and a bankruptcy divorce, and I had clinical depression, Stephen. I was, to be really straight with you, I was, I'm really super depressed. Sometimes really bad thoughts come in, like taking your own life. And this thought came in and didn't leave. It stuck around. It was really scary. So I driving on the road one day, and all the people that got me there, right? The 𝐘𝐸 𝐷𝐿𝐴𝐿ers and Tony Robbins, people I listened to and read and made me become a successful guy. Like, well, now I'm broke. I'm recycling paper towels in my basement. How do I get back on the horse? I put their CDs in. I read their books again. I don't recognize them. You're an idiot. You're lying to me. I don't believe you. Most millionaires have been broke 2.2 times, Doug. No, I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy. I didn't like any of them anymore. Like, what happened? I'm driving down the road, putting these CDs in, trying to get my mojo back, and nothing was working. I popped one CD in. 6 seconds later, I'm like cured. 9 months of clinical depression, gone. I'm like, who is this guy? I don't know what happened to me. I eject the CD and guess who it was? It was me. My goal-setting CD I gave to my real estate students years prior. I didn't recognize my own voice.
Wow.
But my subconscious recognized it and snapped me out of my depression. So I was like cured, still broke, but I was like, I'm not sad anymore. I'm not going to kill myself now. I'm like, this is amazing what happened to me. So I worked out, how can I help others with this? I went from riches to rags. How can I feel from rags to riches? And I developed a service, an accountability interactive book thing, and took it to Chet Holmes, who has passed away since, but he's a very prolific author. And he looked at it and said, that's a cool idea, Doug, but what do I want with a $100 accountability app and a book where I could just charge 50 grand and just Ghostwrite for leaders there. Just do that. And I'm like, $100, 50,000. Okay. So I guess I'll start ghostwriting and publishing books. But I wrote a book during my little boohoo phase here, and it's awful. I mean, it was so embarrassing I didn't even publish it. It was so bad. Now, I had some people I connected with in my radio days. So I called up Robert Kiyosaki. I called up Laura Langmeyer. Hey, guys, when you did this book thing, how'd you do that? So those two people, out of the 3 or 4 I spoke with, were the most important because they said, oh, we're not best-selling writers, Doug. I'm a best-selling author. Ghostwriting. So I've perfected over the years a process of research, journalism, ghostwriting, editing, production, marketing, and distribution. It's a complete system for people to get their message out into large audiences through a book. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. So what is that? What do you do in that ghostwriting or book writing, book creation process? What is the sort of step by step? What is it people are gonna do when they work with you? That experience.
Well, I always begin with the end in mind. Thank you, Mr. Covey. So we start with what do you want this to do? People don't really want a book. They want what the book will do for them.
Of course. So
a lot of people, it's legacy. That's important. A lot of people, it's lead gen, or it's valuation, or it's speaking opportunities, getting consulting contracts at bigger companies. They have a competitive environment where, hey, I'm going to hire this author versus non-author. There's a lot of reasons a book or being a published author elevates your status or gives you more opportunities than a non-author. It's pretty clear. So our process is really like, hey, what do you want to achieve? Why? Then we do some very deep data mining and surveys and focus groups on your in your category. I'll go into Amazon. I'll pull up over 100 3-star reviews, not 1 stars. People are angry. 5 stars, somebody's mom. But a 3-star review always tells me, I like this, but I like this, and I wish it would have addressed this point. So we copy and paste over 100 of these, collate them, build you a bar chart and a graph saying, here's what your audience is telling the best-selling authors in your category, what to do and what not to do. Take this data and let's format and create your theme, your book title, and all these things. And we test it. We create covers and titles, and we do surveys and a focus group. So after a month, we've got a real solid, we call it vet and validate. We vetted your ideas and we validated it with your actual audience. And the one unique thing I do in that, Stephen, is that we also, when we validate it, we don't just say, okay, it's good to go. I'll also add in for my VIP clients, we'll go and talk to Fortune 1000, CEOs and founders and C-suite people. I'll go and have conversations with the leaders of a national association or trade group that's in your purview, who you want to be talking to. And if they've got good stories, as I'm interviewing, or as my journalist is interviewing my clients, I'll also interview their ICP, their ideal customer profile, or better yet, their large organizations who represent that profile. And so we ghostwrite the book, we do unlimited revisions on the sample, we edit it, layout, proofing, design. But when that preview copy is done, the first dozen or 2 we send out are to the people that contribute to the book, who just happen to have audiences of several million people. So when that book comes out, I tab the section where they're quoted. They get their copy in the mail with the tabs on it. What's the first thing they read? They go to their tab. Of course, there's me. I'm in this book. Oh my God, they made it a bestseller. Oh my gosh. The next thing, how can I help you guys? This is great. Well, you can promote, we have a book launch coming up. We can, launch it. And these are big companies with marketing budgets and PR firms. So we get a lot of expansion on our launches and campaigns by putting our customers inside the very product that we're creating. And because of that, we have probably one of the few companies that does start to finish, right? Ideation, creation, production, marketing, but most importantly, distribution. Because when I do that for folks, we have guaranteed distribution into large organizations. We'll easily do 10,000 units inside an association or a corporation or for our authors. So all they got to do, they could talk to journalists for an hour a week, and we do everything else for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, talk to me about there's an awful lot of stuff going on today. People are
Yeah.
creating books with AI, and
Yeah.
to create a book in 4 hours with
Oh yeah.
AI. Now,
Right.
we're big proponents of AI, but I would
hmm
never use AI to write my book.
Why is that?
Well, number one, I can't copyright it if AI writes it. And the other piece of it is it's not me,
Spot on. Yeah.
right?
I did it
I would use AI to help me, no
for
no
sure.
question,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I know there's an awful lot of noise, as we talked about earlier at the
So much.
opening, right? There's a
Yep.
lot of noise out there. So how do you cut through that?
Right. So those are two questions. I'll answer the first one first. I use this expression a lot. I say I use AI. I don't let AI use me. And when it first got popular, I mean, it's been around for decades, but when it first got popular, I was nervous for about a week. And so I started using it to try to write a story or a book. And it was, oh my God, it was horrible. Very two-dimensional. And my TEDx talk addresses this. The title is The Power of Humanity in the Shadow of AI. And I outline in my talk 3 things that AI cannot do in the foreseeable future. And that's really responsibility, because it's not responsible. You are. So you better
Yep.
darn well edit what it creates and take responsibility for what it's creating. It cannot experience anything, like you mentioned. My gosh, it's just regurgitating words or bits and bytes from the internet. It doesn't have any feeling. There's no reading between the lines on an AI generated content. It's just, it is what it is, and it's always regurgitated something that somebody else has created. Your copyright point.
Right.
So there's no experiential feeling there. It can't feel the drama that we has as humans. Therefore, it can only comment on it, really. But the third thing is, gosh, it's still a robot. It has no heart, no soul. And to your point, hey, I'm not going to have a robot speak for me. And our C-suite founder authors would never send a robot in to represent them, right? So you got to
Right.
have, when you ghostwrite, you've got to embody the author's voice, pace, style, tonality, and it takes time to do that properly. AI cannot do that. An AI can certainly write, it does very well, but it doesn't ask the questions my journalist does because it hasn't experienced things. Our journalists ask questions that the reader wants to know. What AI and a typical author does, they ask questions they think that somebody wants to know, or they talk about themselves too much. I always focus on the reader, not the author. So we use AI. Don't let AI use us. That's the answer to that question about, in the AI world, I'm not worried about real thought leader books because it can't do that. For short form copy, it's great. For spinning titles, we use it all the time. But
Sure.
for actual iteration, absolutely not. Second part of that question was what? I'm sorry.
Well, the second is, then so how do you cut through, because there's
Oh, yeah, no idea.
so the proliferation
Uh-huh.
of titles.
Yeah.
How
2
do you
million.
how do you cut through that?
Last time I checked, 33 billion books out there, 2 million new ones every year. And it's impossible to cut through that. You cannot. So I'm not going to be defeatist about it, but I'm a relationship guy. My whole business is built on referrals and relationships and connecting with high profile people. That AI can't do that. AI cannot create a relationship. Only humans can do that, really. It can do outreach, it can whip up great emails, but it can't create a relationship. So the way we cut through the noise is focus on what humans only can do, because everyone's doing AI, right? Remember when there was no websites, the first few, it was like, if you have a website, you're cool, right? And if you want to get media attention, well, you had to get on Fox or CNN, or so you had to be in a media. Now, look at, we're on a TV show right now.
That's right.
Right? Everyone can have their own TV show now. Like, okay. So, and it used to be, the word was what? Content is king, right? Not anymore. There's too much content. Is AI going to make that better or worse for us? It's going to be an explosion of crap out there. So don't do that, right? Do something different. So we've said, listen, a year ago, I started doing in-person meetings, in-person events, and focusing on humanity and connecting with human beings, because that's the tipping point that's going to be happening now. Is I've been watching these deep fakes, right? Where you could tell last year how, oh, that's fake. This year,
You can't tell.
man, there's some really good ones. Not all of them, but a lot of them are getting much better. It's only going to get better.
Yep.
I clicked away on something the other day. I'm pretty sure it was real, but I wasn't exactly sure. I'm like, forget it. So what does that tell us? Okay, we've seen dial-up to high speed. We've seen websites to social media. Now we have, everyone's got their own TV show. AI is gonna make all this brilliant. We'll make all be brilliant content creators, thereby lowering the bar on the whole thing. So to your point, long-winded answer saying the way to stand out is to not do what everybody else is doing. Focus on the human side of connection. And if you build relationships with what we do, which is with humans that represent large groups, I can make a difference. One of my clients is a vistage chair. He's got some health issues. So working on his book, he drops the word Vistage and American Cancer Society in his book. He's retired, doesn't really need the money, but he wants to make an impact. So I tabbed that section, sent that book to his first 2 keynotes, Vistage National and the American Cancer Society. So the way you make an impact, the way you cut through the noise, is to pick up the phone and call people and offer to help them first. Don't talk about yourself. So, it's Dale Carnegie 101, but people tend to avoid it. They talk about themselves too much. So we always focus on our customer's customer. That's our MO.
Yeah. So how do you then work with the author to make sure that you understand the right kind of audience?
Yeah.
That's right. It's really critical. I mean, clearly in your process.
Yeah, it's super critical. We do a lot of research. We look at his current client base. We look at where they want to go. Sometimes they want to branch off into something different. There's a lot of nuance and a lot of variety on their markets and their ICP, where they want to go. But we do a lot of research and conversations about that the first month before we write a single word.
Does that impact the direction of the book?
Absolutely it does, yeah. So many people who write their own book, which I applaud them when they do that, because not many people do. But when you write your own book, I can always tell, because it's like I. And, why should I care about you? What's in it for me, right? So your customer's customer is most important to me. I want to find out why I ask my clients this question that always bothers them. All right, you want to do a book? Okay, cool. What can you say that hasn't already been said? I get like deer in the headlights, like not much. That's okay. I'm going to help you with that. Maybe I shouldn't do a book. No, we'll get back. So I said, all right, so you can't say anything new. That's understandable. But people hire you for things, right? Yeah. Why do they do that? I get really deep on their value proposition. But what always surfaces, sometimes they have to say it. Sometimes I have to, give them a little hint, but there's nothing new you can say tactically or strategically. Sorry, there's not. Nothing new. But there is one thing that is very unique to you as a human being. You're a very unique person. Your perspective on a topic, a theme, an idea is unique to you. You might not like Tony Robbins, but maybe this person likes you better. So he may have a similar message, but this person might not connect with him that connect with you because of your perspective or personality is different.
Or your experience.
Yeah,
right.
Whatever it is.
The way you experienced this thing.
Right. So being unique is easy because we all are. Packaging it so it resonates requires storytelling. You got to have open hooks and tension and rising action and all the things that we know in storytelling and character development, which isn't always easy in a nonfiction book, but you got to do it. Otherwise, no one reads it, let alone open it. So there's a lot of marketing involved with that.
It's the hero's journey.
Right? It can be. That's a popular one.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
But a point on that real quick. Listen, folks, when you're thinking about the hero's journey in your book, please do not think you are Luke Skywalker. Okay.
Yeah,
be Yoda. Your client is Luke Skywalker. Your reader is the hero. You're the Sherpa.
That's
too many egocentric books that don't do that. So
yeah, that's the same thing about when you do the marketing thing, right? The hero's journey. It needs to be the customer is the hero, right? You're the trusted guide. Yeah, same thing when you write the book, right? Yeah, your reader is the hero.
Exactly. Yeah.
Your avatar is the hero, and you're the trusted guide.
Perfect.
So yeah. So who should write a book, and maybe who shouldn't?
Well, nearly everybody is worthy of it. If not for any other reason other than this one of legacy, because think in terms of questions like, why do you need to do a book? Like, I don't know. Do you know your dad's name, right? You know your grandpa's name? Yeah, probably. How about your great grandfather? Maybe. Do you know like where he grew, where he went to school? Do you know where your great grandfather's values were? Do you know what your great grandfather's name? No. And I had to say this with love, but like someday that's going to be you. You're not going to be able to scroll the feed from 30 years ago. It's going to be way down the line. So for legacy alone, people should document that, whether it's a book or whatever. That's fine. From a business standpoint, there's 90% of businesses will benefit from a personal brand that's going to lift themselves and their company up in the spotlight. I always say if you want to get in the traditional media, you either have to be an author, a politician, or a criminal. And sometimes the last two are the same. But an author gets on the air versus a non-author when it comes to business. Sure. So it's more than a business card. It can be an equity lift. It can be a good branding tool. It can do a lot of things. It can be a lead gen, shorten sales cycles. The only people who shouldn't probably publish a book are somebody who's doing, maybe affiliate marketing or something like that, where there's no true value or story. They're just, moving things around. But most everybody else
selling other people's stuff.
Yeah, I can't. It would take me a lot of work to find a reason to read a book from someone who does that. I mean, I'm sure there's a method for it. That'd be tactical. I'm more a storyteller, and you've got to have a good, compelling story because people remember that. They don't remember data, So most everybody can benefit from publishing a book, depending on their goals.
And is it important? I mean, you talked a little bit about having something unique to say. Is it really just in the story and the way in which you tell it?
I think it is. The more I've done hundreds of interviews with founders and CEOs, and I'm fascinated by their stories. And there's a psychology of that. Excuse me. It's pretty straightforward. When we hear the hero's journey, when we hear somebody who's had a big dip like me and then come back up, oh wow, it's captivating. Why do we care about that? The limbic brain is a funny thing. The croc brain, the primitive brain runs our show. Everything we do, from digesting our food to healing a cut to making a decision, we're not in control of it. It's our subconscious is doing it. So if you apply those same principles to your story, don't tell a story for no reason. Make sure there's a point, a hook, an arc in there so it makes sense and if someone can remember it and share it. Those are vital components to whatever you do. Without a good story, you're just, it's commodity, right?
And of course you have to make some kind of an emotional connection, right? Yeah, that's where the arc comes in, right?
Laughing and crying, man. If you could do that, I had a ghostwriter that just last week did a sample for a client. We did it on stage in front of a live audience. And what he wrote in 15 minutes had half the audience in tears just by reading what he wrote. Because I interviewed the author on stage, and while I'm interviewing him, my team is creating all these assets, a cover, a website, and the introduction. And we display these things every 10, 15 minutes. And what he wrote was compelling, very moving for people. And that's what causes us to remember things, share things, and take some action. So I always say when you craft anything, especially a book, it should be interesting for sure. Useful has to be. If it's entertaining, you're good to go. All three is a winner, right? So entertaining, it's, fiction does that. But interesting, useful, good for business books. When you combine all three, interesting, useful, entertaining, you're going to get people to read it and finish it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's a really good way to think about, my opinion, right? To think about the value that you would bring, right? It's is it useful, right?
Yeah.
And what are they going to do with it? And the entertainment, I would suspect the entertainment also helps to compel people to actually use the materials in the book.
Right. Absolutely.
Right? You got to connect with the stories.
When the endorphins are flying, when we're laughing, when we're happy, a lot of things open up for us, like decisions, right? I mean, it's like, you're more relaxed. You're not fearful because you're laughing. And of course, you could take some action. So when I say entertaining, it could be crying or happy or some emotion, right? As you mentioned.
Right. Yeah, the emotional connection. Yeah.
Yeah, emotion is entertaining, right? So that's why movies open with a big bang. And when we're writing a nonfiction book, sometimes it's challenging, but we always start with the middle of the story. We start with a defining moment. Oh my God, there I was. Now we go back to the history and the points, but
how did we get there?
Yeah.
And
we frame up our books like Game of Thrones, man. It's got to start with a strong opening and hooks and valleys every single chapter to make it a page turner. Fiction books, easy page turners, right? They're well written. Nonfiction books takes a good writer for that.
Yeah. Fascinating. So, I understand you have a free gift for our listeners.
I do. One of the things I've uncovered talking to people over the years, sometimes they're not sure if they should publish a book or what the topic would be. Most entrepreneurs have 5 or 10 books in their head. What do I do first? Will it work? I don't know. I'm like, you know what? I have a thing where I hop on a call with anybody for a good half hour and say, let's vet and validate what you're thinking here. And I'll do some research before the call. I'll come prepared with some ideas. We'll talk about your idea and we can do a light version, not a full version, but enough to know that, hey, you know what? I think we got something here. You should run with that either with us or by somebody else, doesn't matter. But it's a free thing. Go to authoryourbrand.com/go and I'll help you get a second set of eyeballs and ears on your idea. And if we can vet and validate for you, make you a successful author, I'll be happy to help.
Great. Yeah, we'll make sure that that's in the show notes.
You bet. Yeah.
And if somebody wanted to reach out, what's the best way to get in touch with you? Is it right there?
Yeah, you could go there, or if you want to go direct, I'm very accessible. Just go to email me at doug@dougcrowe.com and put Profit Minds in your subject line, so I know you're connected to Stephen, because that's important for me to give the love back. So yeah, doug@dougcrowe.com.
That's great.
You bet.
So, and that concludes our show. Thanks to my guest, Doug Crowe, legacy author, help to people who want to write books. And I hope you learned something about how to break through the noise and make an impact. I know I did. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to the Profit Minds podcast. This is your host, Dr. Stephen 𝐘𝐨𝐿. Please visit www.profitminds.net for other episodes or to contact me. Thank you for your positive feedback, comments, questions, and for sharing this show with others. Thanks for listening. Have a grateful day.